Hi everyone, welcome to biology class. Today's topic is flower. Flower is the most beautiful and attractive things we see in this world. I mean, who doesn't like to gaze into a garden which is full of flowers? Do you ever think about how the flower is important beyond its beauty? Well, for a plant's life, it is the most important part. Flowers helps in the most important function of a plant, that is the reproduction. A flower is a reproductive organ seen only in angiosperms. It is marvelously designed to perform the reproductive function. The main function of a flower is the production of fruits and seeds. Although each flower looks different from each other, they follow a similar pattern. Flower parts are arranged concentrically in definite circle or whorls, and this is called floral whorls. Morphologically, flower is considered as modified shoot. That is, it has nodes and internodes which are seen condensed, and it has well developed floral leaves. First, let's look at the basic structure of a flower. Typically, the flower has two parts, floral stalk and a floral part or floral leaves. The floral stalk is called pedicel. When a flower has a long or distant stalk, it is called pedicellate flower. And when the flower lacks this pedicel, then it is called sessile or non-pedicellate flower. A pedicel has an expanded terminal part. It is called thalamus. This part is also known as receptacle or torus. The thalamus bears floral parts on top of it. Thalamus has nodes and internodes. Usually, the internodes are short and condensed. When the internodes are short, the nodes come close to each other, and because of this, the floral parts are seen crowded together. This is a usual scenario. But in some cases, like passiflora, it has an elongated internode, and this is called androphore. So this is androphore, and it bears carpels and stamens at its tip. Flower has four major parts. They are calyx, corolla, Androecium and Gynoecium. The calyx and corolla together forms a non-essential whorls. They are called non-essential because they are the sterile parts. Androecium and Gynoecium together forms the essential whorls because they are the fertile part. Sometimes calyx and corolla together will be inseparable or indistinguishable from each other. They are called perianth. The first part, calyx, is the outermost part. It has leaf-like sessile appendage called sepal. The main function of a calyx is the protection of inner whorls. Based on the fate of the sepals, there are four kinds of calyces. The first one is the caducous calyx. This type, the sepals fall off soon after flower opening, and it is seen in poppy flower. The second type is a deciduous calyx, and it is seen in mustard. In this type, the sepals fall off together with the petals. The third one is a persistent type, and in this type, the sepals never fall off, but it remain with the fruit, and it is seen in brinjal. The fourth and the last type is the acrescent calyx, and in this type, the sepals not just persistent, but also continues to grow as a jacket around the fruit. The sepals may be separate or fuse with each other. If it is separate, then it is called polysepalous, or if it is united to form a cup, then it is known as gamosepalous. It is seen in flowers like hibiscus. These are the usual type of calyces we see. Now we will discuss some variations too. In rose, it has a tooth type of margin instead of an entire margin. Sometimes the sepals also will be colored as in musanda. So when a sepal is colored and scented like petals, it is called petaloid sepals. Very few plants like tridacts, the sepals are reduced to hairy structure called pappus. It is an adaptation for wind dispersal of seeds. In balsam, one of the sepal may form tubular structure called spur. The next important part of a flower is corolla. It is seen between calyx and androecium. Corolla constitutes a whorl of petals. A petal is a thin, delicate, brightly colored and sweet-smelling part of a flower. Just like sepals, the petals are also seen free or united, called polypetalous as in Crotalaria and gamopetalous as in Ixora. In a polypetalous corolla, the petal has narrow stalk-like lower portion called claw and upper expanded portion known as limb. Such petals are known as clawed petals. In a gamopetalous corolla, the lower portion is known as tube and upper portion is called limb. It is often lobed. In other cases, the corolla develops numerous appendages which may form small lobes or long hairy structure as in Passiflora. These appendage is called coronal outgrowths. Or, this may sound familiar, it is called corona. In here, this corona helps in adding attraction to the flower. The other different types of corolla seen include plants like peas in which corolla is butterfly shaped. It is known as papilionaceous. In flowers of Annona, the petals are thick, succulent and green in color. So it is known as sepaloid petal. Based on the shape of corolla, the flower symmetry can be actinomorphic or zygomorphic. In an actinomorphic flower, the corolla is radially symmetrical. So it can be divided into two equal halves through any plane. In a zygomorphic flower, it is bilaterally symmetrical. So the flower can be divided into two equal halves through only one plane. In a flower, when both calyx and corolla is present, it is known as diclamidious. When only a single whorl of perianth is present, then the flower is called monoclamidious. When both calyx and corolla is absent in a flower, then it is an aclamidious or naked flower. Sepals and petals are arranged in relation to one another. Aestivation is an arrangement of sepal and petal with relation to one another on a thalamus. There are mainly 6 types of arrangement. The first type of arrangement is valvate. In this type, the petals or sepals are just in touch with one another. It is seen in flowers like mimosa. The second type is valvate induplicate. In this type, the petals margin are folded inwards. It is seen in flowers like datura and hypomia. The third type is contorted or twisted. In this type, the sepals or petals are overlapped regularly with one another. This may result in a twisted appearance of the flower. It is seen in flowers like alamanda, hibiscus, etc. Fourth type of aestivation is imbricate aestivation. In this type, one sepal or petal is completely outside and one is completely inside. The remaining petals are seen overlapping with one another. Imbricate aestivation is of two types. They are descendingly imbricate and ascendingly imbricate. First type is descendingly imbricate or vexillary aestivation. It is found in papilionaceous corolla. In this, the posterior petal, which is the standard petal, is found completely outside, and the anterior petal, which is one of the keel petals, is found completely inside. Next type is ascendingly imbricate. It is found in corolla of Caesalpiniaceae. In this, the posterior petal is completely inside and the anterior petal is completely outside. The fifth type of aestivation is quincunxial aestivation. In this, the sepal or petal are arranged in units of 5, in which 2 will be completely interior and 2 will be completely exterior. The remaining one is partially interior and partially exterior. The sixth and the last type of aestivation is induplicate convolute. This type of aestivation is a combination of twisted and induplicate type, and it is seen in the flowers of convolvulus and hypomia. In this type, the corolla is gamopetalous and regular and consists of narrow, tubular lower and a broad spreading and circular upper portion. The third important part of the flower is Androecium. It consists of numerous male reproductive structure called stamens. Typically, the stamen consists of 3 parts. They are slender and sterile basal portion called filament, and there is a broad and fertile apical portion called anther. and between this there is a connecting part called connective. The anther is a four-lobed structure, and based on the attachment of anther to the filament, there are four types of anther. They are adnate, basifixed, dorsifixed and versatile. In an adnate anther, the filament is attached to the anther throughout its length. In a basifixed anther, as the name suggests, the filament is attached to the base of the anther. In dorsifixed anthers, the filament is attached to the back of the anther. In versatile type, the filament is attached to the middle of the anther so that the anther swings freely in all directions on the filament. If the filament does not bear an anther, then it is called staminoids. In some cases, as in hibiscus flower, all stamens basally fuse to form staminal tube. The stamens may be seen attached to the petals or free from the petals. If it is attached, then it is called epipetalous. The stamens arranged in a flower may be spirally or concentrically. Stamens may be free or fused with each other. If it is free, then it is called polyandrous. If it is fused, based on the degree of fusion, there are 5 types of anther. In monadelphous, diadelphous and polyadelphous stamens, the filaments are fused. In monadelphous, it fused to form a single bundle. In diadelphous, it forms 2 bundles. In polyadelphous type, the filaments fuse to form more than 2 bundles. In cynandrous stamen, the filaments and anthers are fused to form 1 bundle. In syngenaceous type, the filaments are free, but the anthers fuse to form a tube. The last important part of the flower is gynoecium. It is also known as pistil. It represents a female reproductive part of the flower. It consists of 1 or more units of carpel. Carpel consists of 3 parts. They are the swollen basal part called ovary, the slender middle part is called style, and the stigma, which is a flat terminal part. Gynoecium consists of 1 carpel, then it is called monocarpellary. If there is more than 1, then it is called polycarpellary. A polycarpellary gynoecium can be apocarpous, which has free carpels, or maybe syncarpous with fused carpels. One part of the carpel can undergo fusion in different degrees. It is called cohesion of carpels. Floral parts are arranged on thalamus. Based on position of gynoecium on thalamus, there are 3 types of flowers. They are hypogynous, epigynous and perigynous flowers. In a hypogynous flower, the ovary is superior. The word hypogyny means below the gynoecium. So the gynoecium is seen at the top and all other floral parts are arranged below it. So the thalamus is seen at the base and it is conical or elongated in shape. It is seen in flowers like hibiscus, alamanda, etc. Next type of flower is epigynous flower. The word epigyny means above the gynoecium. In this type, the ovary is inferior and the thalamus completely encloses the ovary. So the thalamus is a deep hollow cup shaped and all other floral whorls are arranged at the rim of the thalamus. It is seen in flowers like tridacts and apple. The third type of flower is perigynous flower. The word perigyny means around the gynoecium. In this type, the gynoecium is at the center of the thalamus. So ovary is half inferior and half superior. So in this type, the all other floral whorls are arranged around the margin of the thalamus. So the thalamus is a shallow cup and ovary is partially enclosed in it. It is seen in flowers like Crotalaria and Caesalpinia. These are the 4 major parts of a flower. When a flower has both androecium and gynoecium, they are called perfect or bisexual or monoclynous flowers. In some flowers, will have only one of them. They are called imperfect or unisexual or diclynous flowers. A unisexual flower with androecium are called male flower or staminate flower, and those with gynoecium are called female flower or pistillate flower. In some others, the androecium and gynoecium both are absent. They are called aclynous or neutral flowers. Hydrangea is the best example for this. When a plant bears both bisexual and unisexual type of flowers, they are called polygamous plants. In mango tree and cashew tree, we can see this. In some plants, there is only unisexual flowers. Bisexual flowers are absent in it. They are called monoecious plants. Maize, castor, and cucurbits are some of the monoecious plants. So in these plants, we can see male and female flowers. There are one more type of plants called dioecious plants. It either bear male flower or female flower. They don't seem together. Date, palm and papaya are example for this. In this type, there is distinct male plants and female plants. This brings to the end of this video. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. So you all shine bright like a flower and spread scent of happiness. See you in the next video. Bye.